Hello TMAA students and families. This is Sabumnim James Espy again, and I'm here to talk about effort over achievement. This is a central concept in our approach to teaching that has been part of what we do since the very beginning of Traditional Martial Arts Academy. It is a central theme in our children's programs, and it's an important part in how we approach adults as well. The original idea for it came from my exposure to schools that emphasized belts over anything else. If a student was starting to lose interest, their next belt would be held out in front of them, and you're this close to being able to get your next belt, you should hang in there and get it. And so there would be this motivation driven by earning your next belt. This was very jarring to me as a student when I started to be exposed to it, because I was always excited about the training, I was always excited about the learning, and so to encounter people that were interested only in getting their next belt was a little bit baffling to me. Encountering people that had as their goal a specific belt, and once they got it they quit, was extremely baffling to me, because I just didn't want to stop. It was a lot of fun. It was interesting. I was meeting great people and doing things that helped me feel stronger and more self-aware. So in the martial arts industry, there are people who provide school owners like myself with business advice, and a common theme in that business advice is to always hold out the next belt to keep students motivated. If they're motivated, they'll stay enrolled, and you'll make lots of money and all of this. For me, that's just never resonated. As I moved into larger and larger responsibilities as an adult, I started to see other expressions of this same pattern, where instead of people trying to get to the next belt, and then once they're at the next belt, it's like, now I got to go for this next belt, and that's my new goal. I would see people do that with jobs, with cars, with houses, with boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, children. There's all of these extrinsic or external objects that they would build a goal set around, and basically who they were, their self-esteem, their self-identity was built in that external object. So if they didn't get the object, if they didn't reach their goal, it was devastating to their understanding of themselves. It was a crushing experience. It was a terrible thing. And for me, I could see how destructive that was for individuals, and how destructive that was on a societal level. That is where the original seed of our teaching philosophy came from. We in this school emphasize the process. We emphasize effort. You will always hear us telling students how pleased we are with somebody's effort, or if we're needing to make adjustments to what they're doing, make adjustments in their progress. The conversation is around effort. You'll never hear us talk about how athletic somebody is, or how smart somebody is, or that kind of thing. You'll never hear us talking about how great somebody is because they have this belt, or how great they could be if they had this belt, or it's a bummer that they're still at this belt. You'll never hear us applying praise or correction around something outside of a student. You'll hear us respond to behavior and respond to effort. This is an extremely important philosophy, and it's something that, as a parent, my wife and I apply to our daughter. If you can shift people's focus from extrinsic goals, things outside, the car, the house, the new job, having so much money, to intrinsic goals, learning, growing, becoming, these things that are inside oneself, and moving effort away from outcomes and more into process, the experience, being with what's happening now and investing what you have to offer to that moment. It makes a huge difference. And the irony is you actually end up with better outcomes towards achievement. If somebody is moving towards an extrinsic goal, somebody's moving towards black belt, and I've seen this hundreds and hundreds of times. Somebody's moving towards black belt, and the black belt is their goal, and someday I'm going to be a black belt. And that is their focus. When they stumble and fall, they hit a hard piece in the curriculum that takes a lot of work. We lose those students. They end up losing interest because they're not focused on something that's difficult. They're focused on this dream that's way off in the distance. For the students who might have the black belt as a direction, I'd like to be a black belt one day, I have to become a black belt. They're more invested in the process. They enjoy the learning, and when they hit something that's difficult, they enjoy the challenge. They enjoy the fact that that is going to make them grow and become something better and more than what they were before they met that challenge. So they actually embrace the difficulty of the experience. So you end up with a higher dropout rate when you have this extrinsic goal. You have a greater persistence or grit when it's an intrinsic goal, when it's about self-growth, self-exploration. And so these people with the intrinsic goal, they actually end up getting to these outside targets more consistently, because when they fall down, they see it as part of the process and they just get back right up and embrace what's going on. Hopefully this approach to teaching is something that's a little bit more clear for parents that are watching their kids in our classes. And hopefully it's something that you can experiment with in your own home. Look for opportunities to emphasize the process. Encourage children to be engaged in the process rather than setting up an outside goal. If you do this, I'll give you this. This does wonders for children's self-esteem, it does wonders for their self-confidence, and it does wonders for their just general happiness. Because if you find love in process, if you find love in the challenge, life is full of challenges. Life is filled with difficult situations. And if you can find love and passion in those moments, then life immediately becomes that much brighter. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and interesting.